It's just approaching sort of 5 or so minutes to 9. At the age of 31, an ovarian cancer diagnosis meant Ursula Martin's travels around Europe were cut short. But after months of treatment and a major operation, she found herself back in her hometown of Machynlleth craving adventure.
She decided she'd walk to her next hospital appointment, which was in Bristol, which was 130 miles away, which is a long way, and she did not stop there.
Yeah, over 18 months, and in some of the most gruelling weather conditions, she walked more than 3,700 miles, covering the length and the breadth of Wales.
Raising more than £11,000 for ovarian cancer charities. Ursula is here with us this morning. Did you walk all the way here today or not?
No,
you didn't?
No, I got a train.
Oh, just take us back. I love your book, and the way you write it is kind of really visceral, actually, especially at the beginning when you're talking about your cancer, because it came as a real shock to you, didn't it?
Yes, it did. It was completely out of the blue. I was travelling in Europe. I kayaked the length of the Danube about 3 months before I was diagnosed, and suddenly, out of nowhere, I found that I had a huge growth, and it came in small ways, and that was the surprise to find out that that's the theme of ovarian cancer afterwards, is it will grow and you may have symptoms but you won't recognise it. So I was getting things where I was having pain in my pelvis and I couldn't bend, but you just brush it off and you think it's one of those things. But fortunately I went back to the UK for Christmas and basically went to a friend's doctor, and it all began, and the diagnosis began.
And then there's the sort of walking to hospital side of things. So why did you decide to walk to hospital? Because it was obviously quite a way.
It was, and I think it's because I was travelling beforehand, and so obviously, you know, I returned to Machynlleth and I've got a huge abdominal scar, I've got a cancer diagnosis, and I've got no job, and I'm just kind of in limbo really, and really the only thing that was certain in my life was, oh, you have to go to hospital in 3 months' time and check it hasn't come back. And so it was really that I just looked at a map and I saw that the River Severn started a few miles away from my house. I could walk down the River Severn to Bristol, and I could walk back up the River Severn, back up the River Wye and go home. And I just thought, oh, why don't I do that? And
I can think of a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to do that, but luckily you didn't.
But for me, it was a return to normality, because the way I'd been living was travelling. I was going with a rucksack on my back, and I was in Eastern Europe. And so when I was able to walk 400 miles to hospital, for me that was me feeling normal again, because I could go and do what I was doing before I got ill.
Having a look at some of the pictures from the book now, did you sort of eating, sleeping, looking after yourself? How did you do that on that huge journey?
Well, I kind of became more and more aware that it was a balance between self-care and always pushing yourself onwards. So in order to achieve a 3,500 mile walk, you have to force yourself beyond, through pain and through exhaustion, and you have to keep going, but you also have to go, am I warm enough, am I hydrated, how's my body sugar, how is this affecting all my decisions? And so I just learned, you know, as I was going along, to just keep eating well and keep taking care of myself.
One of the things that comes through the book, and I know is incredibly important to you, is to spread the message, isn't it? Because a lot of women, like you say, may have symptoms but not actually realise, and it's really important to get diagnosed. We talk about this a lot with cancer, but particularly with this type of cancer.
Absolutely, yeah. The surprise for me when I was diagnosed was to find out that only, at the time, it had a 35% survival rate after 5 years. So only 35% of women were still alive, and so that was the real shock, to go, this is a thing that is happening because of late diagnosis, and what can I do? So that was my way. So then I extended the walk. So I thought, oh, what if I walk to hospital and I don't walk home? Or what if I walk up the Offa's Dyke path and around the coastal path? And it was a combined way of having my own adventure, but also doing, this is my piece of fundraising and symptoms awareness.
And you brought this flag on with you. This is a flag that went with you on your travels as well.
It,
so you're now, how many years clear now?
I'm 6 years in to post-diagnosis.
And so have you got another walk planned? There's a flag going to go out with you somewhere else?
Oh, yeah, I could take the flag. I want to walk across Europe. So it's about going back to where I was before I got diagnosed, and so in August I'm planning to go to the Ukraine and then walk back to Britain.
You're amazing.
Yeah.
You're amazing. And there's something about walking, isn't there? The kind of slow pace as well through the countryside.
Absolutely, yeah.
Really
it's the
special.
most fundamental human action. You know, it's just that thing of if you can... I couldn't run, or I couldn't, you know, I couldn't ride a horse or any, all of these technical things, but I can walk.
Brilliant.
You know, it's just that absolute basic.
One
thing I
step at
can
a
do.
time.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's a really beautifully written book, so thank you very
you.
much for coming
Wow.
on and telling us about
Thank
it.
you very much.
Ursula's book is called One Woman Walks Wales.
Exactly, 9 o'clock. Now, there's a bit of excitement today. Shakespeare